Did you know that your body is made up of a myriad of cells? But not all of them are actually yours. In fact, more than half of what you call yourself are microorganisms that reside inside and on the surface of your body. The average person becomes home to 40 trillion germs. While they only have 30 trillion of their own cells, there are trillions of times more microorganisms on the outside. It seems a bit cramped, right? Let's take a closer look at these microorganisms, starting with the smallest ones. The tiniest single cell doesn't even have a name and is only 9 nanometers long. Approximately 150,000 of these creatures could fit on the tip of a hair. Viruses are the smallest organisms in the world, and the porcine circovirus is the tiniest virus, measuring only 17 nanometers in length. Even though the parvovirus is only 20 nanometers long, it's best not to mess with it, especially if you have a dog. Try to protect them from it. Bromovirus, which is 26 nanometers in length, is naturally transmitted by insects and can affect plants. The virus known as cowpea mosaic virus is 28 nanometers in size and only harms cowpeas. It makes the plant's leaves look like a mosaic. Hepatitis A virus, which is 30 nanometers long, is the smallest of the hepatitis viruses for humans. However, its small size doesn't make it any less harmful. Hepatitis B virus is larger, measuring 42 nanometers, and is likely the oldest human virus. It was found in our distant ancestors. Hepatitis C virus, measuring 50 nanometers long, is more diverse and occurs not only in humans but also in horses and dogs. The Zika virus is 55 nanometers long and is a good reason to avoid mosquitoes if you go to Africa. Phage lambda is the first virus on our list, measuring 58 nanometers. It is beneficial to humans as it feeds on harmful bacteria. Papillomavirus is somewhat harmful, measuring 60 nanometers in size. However, in most cases, it goes away without causing discomfort and never comes back. Adenovirus is 65 nanometers long and is one of the culprits behind a runny nose and cough. The size of the alphavirus is 70 nanometers. It's only 5 nanometers larger than the adenovirus, but it's much more dangerous. The vectors that carry it are ticks, and the virus itself causes encephalitis. The orthobornavirus is 75 nanometers long, and it's usually responsible for causing a runny nose and cough. However, it is not caused by you but your cow. Rotavirus is 80 nanometers long and is probably the reason why my uncle recently suffered from diarrhea for a long time. Yes, we've already mentioned adenovirus, but this is bigger. It's 90 nanometers long and affects a lot of animals as well as humans. The flu virus, which is 100 nanometers long, causes a disease that we know as the flu. It is more severe and dangerous than the common cold. If the rickettsia virus is round, it's 100 nanometers in diameter, and it causes spotted fever in animals. The SARS virus is a severe acute respiratory syndrome measuring 120 nanometers. It's probably the most dangerous of all viruses as it causes respiratory tract and lung disease. Measles, 150 nanometers long, is something you can forget about if you vaccinate. It's simple. Chlorobium, 170 nanometers, is the second bacteria on our list. It lives in hot springs and loves sulfur. Rabies virus is 180 nanometers. It's a virus you don't want to mess with as it causes inflammation of the brain. If it does, you need medical attention. The herpes virus, which is 200 nanometers, has many types, but only 9 of them are dangerous and common in humans. Thermoplasma, 250 nanometers long, is bacteria that likes high temperatures and also lives in hot springs. Chlamydia, which is 300 nanometers, is the bacteria on our list that causes quite nasty effects when ingested by humans. The variola virus, which is 360 nanometers, is a virus that is practically harmless to humans because it's been inoculated. Its name is smallpox. Ferroplasma, 400 nanometers, feeds on sulfide minerals. Yes, it eats sulfur. At 500 nanometers in size, the mini-virus was thought to be the largest virus until a few years ago when other types were discovered. Neisseria has a size of 600 nanometers. There are 11 species, of which 9 are completely safe for humans, but the other 2 can be quite unpleasant. Apicomplexa microbes measure 650 nanometers, and it's a family of microbes made entirely of parasites, which are also quite unpleasant. Megavirus measures 700 nanometers and was the first giant virus discovered since the mini-virus, but it's still not the biggest. Badenovirus, which is 750 nanometers long, matches its name perfectly as an acronym for bacillus-like DNA virus, and it's dangerous to us. Aeropyrum, which is 800 nanometers in size, is another type of heat-loving bacteria. Often, you can find it in the vicinity of other heat-loving germs, like Holococcus, which is 850 nanometers. These bacteria form huge sheets in the bottom sediments of bodies of water, staining them with bright colors. Sulfolobus, measuring 900 nanometers, is a bacterium that not only likes heat, but also feeds on sulfur like the ones that we mentioned earlier. The Ebola virus measures 970 nanometers and is thin, but it's very long. It's native to Africa, and you've probably heard of it. Pandora is a 1 micrometer sized virus, and it's the second largest virus in the world. Luckily, it only affects amoebas. Moraxella is also 1 micrometer in size and is the most common bacteria. It has a familiar shape to us and is present in the human body. B. Siphensis is a type of bacteria measuring 1 to 2/10 of a micrometer. It was first found on a spacecraft returning from Mars and may have originated from the red planet. Pneumococcus, measuring 1.3 micrometers in size, is a pathogen that often causes serious lung problems. Brucelli, which measures 1.4 micrometers in size, is a type of bacteria that affects mostly people and their dogs. If you get sick, you and your pet will both be sick. Pithevirus, the largest virus, is 1.5 micrometers long. Despite its name, it has nothing to do with pizza. Acidilobus, which measures 1.7 micrometers, is a type of bacteria that thrives in water at around 85 degrees Celsius. Enterococcus, which is 2 micrometers long, can be found anywhere in the world, including in your stomach. Halophorax measures 2.3 of a micrometer and is another type of bacteria that could potentially survive on Mars. If there's life on Mars, it's probably Halophorax. Pinobacillus larvae, 2.5 micrometers long, is a harmful bacteria that beekeepers are familiar with as it infects bees. Azotobacter, measuring 3 micrometers in size, is a useful type of bacteria that is used in the production of both fertilizer and food additives. Burkholderia is a microorganism that is 3.2 micrometers long. It is harmless to the environment, but very harmful to humans. Haloquadratum, on the other hand, are 3.5 micrometers long and the only microorganism that is perfectly square. All the others are either round or elongated. B. subtilis, which is 4 micrometers in size, is something you're 100% sure to find in the soil in your backyard, and it's very common. Penicillium is 4.5 micrometers long and is best known for the discovery of penicillin in the 20th century. It's a very strong antibacterial agent. Babesia, another microorganism, is 5 micrometers in size and is a protozoan organism found in the saliva of ticks. Most of the time, it affects dogs and livestock, such as horses. Malassezia measures 5.5 micrometers in size and is a fungus that can be found on the surface of the skin. The Aquifex bacterium is 6 micrometers long and is known for its ability to easily survive in boiling water, although that temperature is just a little bit high. Bifidobacteria are 7 micrometers long and are good for us. Trillions of these bacteria can be found in fermented dairy products like yogurt or cottage cheese. Rhodotorula is a fungus that is 7.5 micrometers long. It lives inside our bodies, but at least it's not on the skin. However, I'm not going to tell you where exactly it lives. You can look it up if you want. Labyrinthula is a strange creature that is 8 micrometers in size. It includes both parasitic and symbiotic types, but unfortunately, I can't say which is which. Lactobacilli is another beneficial bacteria that is 9 micrometers long and lives in fermented milk. It makes you feel warm inside and full. Plasmodium is a parasite that is 10 micrometers in size and lives in the saliva of mosquitoes. Luckily, it's quite rare. Cladosporium is 11 micrometers long and is exactly what you see on spoiled cheese or bread. It lives in your mouth. Candida is a fungus that is 12 micrometers long. It sleeps quietly in your body until something goes wrong, and then it wakes up, and things can get ugly. Giardia was originally thought to be 14 micrometers in size, but it later became clear that this wasn't the case. Suctoria is 15 micrometers long and usually lives in water, but sometimes decides to live on the skin of marine animals like seals. Treponema is 17 micrometers long and goes about its business in your mouth without causing any harm, but it's best not to mess around with it. Clostridium difficile is one of the most horrible bacteria, measuring 18 micrometers. It causes serious heart problems, and what's worse is that it's the most common in hospitals. Borrelia is a bacterium measuring 20 micrometers in length. It's not easy to catch, but if you do, you should run to the doctor. The bacteria is one of the causes of the incredibly dangerous Lyme disease. Alexandria measures 25 micrometers in length and is another unfriendly creature. Some of them are toxic, but even if they're not, they're still dangerous. Cyanobacteria, measuring 30 micrometers in length, are also known as blue-green algae that live both in ponds and other standing water, as well as in your stomach. Didinium measures 50 micrometers and is one of the friendliest microbes, at least in relation to humans, because it feeds on a special kind of bacteria. Alternaria is harmful to plants and people. It causes asthma and other respiratory diseases. It measures 60 micrometers in length. Euglyphids are amoebas measuring 75 micrometers in length that are incredibly important to the environment. They take part in the decomposition process. Flexibacter measures 100 micrometers in length and is only dangerous to fish, causing them various heart diseases. Vorticella measure 150 micrometers and are a very capricious bacteria, especially when it comes to living conditions. If they don't like where they're living, they'll just change it. Serratium measures 190 micrometers in length. It's covered in what looks like armor and has 2 long, unusual arms which are called horns. Foraminifera is the largest group of microbes that have a cell wall. Incidentally, it is also called a shell. They measure 200 micrometers. Spirochete is a large, friendly creature that lives in both fresh and salt water. It measures 250 micrometers long. Paramecium is very large for a bacterium, measuring 300 micrometers. It's often used in universities and shown to microbiology students. Gallionella has been known to scientists for a century and a half. It oxidizes iron, in other words, it causes the formation of rust. It measures 400 micrometers long. Proteus amoeba is one of the biggest microbes, measuring half a millimeter long. It's so big that you can see it without a microscope. Thiomargarita is not an alcoholic beverage. It measures 0.75 millimeters, which makes it the largest bacteria. Put it next to a Drosophila fly, and you'll see that it's only about half the size. The stentor, which is 2 millimeters in size, is the largest microbe that no longer fits the parameters of a micro. It's almost 1/4 of a centimeter. This is no joke. Chromia spherica is an amoeba that measures 3.88 of a millimeter. It is clearly visible at the bottom of the ocean. And yes, it's a single-celled organism. Bubble algae is a single-celled aquatic plant that's often found in aquariums. It measures 4 centimeters long and looks like little green bubbles. Finally, the caulerpa is the largest single-celled organism in the world. It's a seaweed that reaches a length of almost 3 meters. That's a lot of germs. It makes me want to take a bath.